The Prime Minister has put her job on the line, calling for a leadership ballot to be held on Monday. Julia Gillard says she wants to decide once and for all who should lead the Labor Party and the country. And while Kevin Rudd has stopped short of saying whether he'll challenge, he's asked Australian voters to back him. Here's Chief Political Correspondent Mark Simpkin.
Welcome to Parliament House. The Labor Party is tearing itself apart. Ministers loyal to the Prime Minister spent the day ripping into Kevin Rudd, and it's personal. Julia Gillard accuses her former leader of chaos, paralysis and sabotage. She and her supporters want Monday's caucus ballot to crush him and his ambitions forever. The Australian Labor Party is at war, and it's hardly civil.
Kevin Rudd, as Prime Minister, always had very difficult and very chaotic work patterns.
Julia Gillard launched an intercontinental strike, accusing her former leader of betraying her and his party.
The 2010 election was sabotage. We went into that election in very difficult circumstances as a result of the months of paralysis and chaos under Mr Rudd's leadership.
The Prime Minister's spoiling for a fight.
I'm not listening to this rudeness. I'll answer your question and then I'll give a question to your colleague. I'm not going to have you just speak to me like this. End of sentence.
The real confrontation will come Monday morning, a ballot for the leadership of the party and the country.
If, against my expectation, I do not receive the support of my colleagues, then I will go to the backbench and I will renounce any further ambition for the Labor leadership. I anticipate that Mr Rudd will also be a candidate in this ballot. I ask him to give the same undertaking.
He hasn't given that undertaking.
Gentlemen, the elevator, you can't hold the elevator.
Some of his supporters are privately urging a second challenge if the first fails.
I do not believe that Prime Minister Gillard can lead the Australian Labor Party to success in the next election. That is a deep belief. I believe it's also a view shared right across the Australian community.
The former Prime Minister made a long-distance pitch for his old job, appealing to caucus and the public.
It's about people's power, and the people of Australia have a view on the future leadership of their country. I would urge each and every one of them to make that view known across the country. Pick up the phone, talk to MPs, talk to your media outlets, express your view.
He won't say if he's challenging until he returns to Australia.
All the best, folks. Bye.
But he's still portraying himself as a saviour.
They regard me as the best prospect to lead the Australian Labor Party successfully to the next elections, to save the Australian Labor Party at those elections, and to save the country from the ravages of an Abbott government.
I think we need to get out of this idea that Kevin is a messiah who will deliver an election back to us.
Ministers who sat around the cabinet table with Kevin Rudd ripped into the man they've previously publicly defended, exposing the hatreds at the heart of this government.
But the truth is that Prime Minister Rudd is deeply flawed. He has great weaknesses which to date have not necessarily been seen in public.
Hooking into one another in highly vicious personalised attacks, I don't think is Australian.
It's the start of a coordinated shredding of Kevin Rudd's character and legacy, an attempt to destroy any chance of a second or perhaps third coming.
Kevin Rudd talks about a wave of destabilisation and undermining of him. Really, he should just look in the mirror.
There's been gratuitous political violence against the Kevin Rudd over the last week at least.
There's more to come from both sides, with the Labor Party caught in the crossfire.